We're back. This time the tables are turned a little bit. I am asking Dave the questions. We're going to talk about Dave's team. Dave is the commissioner of the I-75 League. He's been the commissioner since we started in 1980. And Dave, you were the common denominator that brought folks who were at the University of Tampa and in the Tampa area together with your buddies who went to your alma mater at the University of Michigan.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever envision that 39 years later we would still be going strong?
No, I certainly did not. I'm really happy that it's worked out the way it has, but that first year was, it seems like 100 years ago, but 39 years later we're still going strong, and couldn't be happier.
And how many managers, of the 15 managers in the league, how many came down this year?
Well, we had 12 out of 15, which I thought was a tremendous ratio, and we had them all together here, and it's kind of a unique thing we have when we get together for the draft. We go to ball games, we have camaraderie and fellowship, and we're each other's friends, and we look forward to this more than anything else all year long.
And I want to say I appreciate all you do to run the league. I know it's a thankless job.
Well, thank you. I enjoy doing it.
Now let's talk about your team, the Bushwood Gophers. You guys are always over 500. Who are some of the key players you had coming back, and what was your approach entering this draft?
Well, my approach to answer that question was I discovered that a couple guys in the league, mainly it was Nick and John, were trying to rebuild, and they were really offering a lot of value for these high draft picks. So I got the idea to offer around my 4th round overall pick, and I kept trading down because there were several players I was interested in. Number one guy I was interested in was Marwin Gonzalez. I wound up not getting him because Steve Isaac snagged him. But there were other players that I was happy with. I wouldn't have minded getting. So I was able to get, my first player was Zimmerman, the first baseman for the Nationals, who was a big power bat, which I liked. So I was glad to land him. But even prior to that, usually I come down here and there's some trades, and I might get involved in 1 or 2 trades. But this draft, I did 3 trades in the last 2 days, and that really set my whole draft. I thought I was a void at second. I was a void in 2 spots basically. I definitely needed a shortstop, and I also probably needed a third baseman. And I was able to get from Savannah a pretty solid part-time shortstop in Echeverria, and that set me up. And from my nephew Ryan, I was able to get a third baseman who was pretty solid by the name of Kyle Seager. So by plugging those 2 holes pre-draft, I was able to be kind of footloose during the draft, and I didn't really have to plug any holes, so I could draft the best available player.
Well, the way I look at it is you moved down in the first round, and by giving up a few spots in the draft order, you also got a higher pick in return. What was that pick, and who did you end up using that on?
Well, I added, the 3rd round was key for me because I was able to get 3 picks in the 3rd round. I traded out of the 2nd round, but as the draft developed, there were still some really legitimate, playable, quality level players in the 3rd round, and I got 3 of them kind of back to back. In the 3rd round, I got DeJong, who's a really power hitting shortstop. I thought was maybe a 1st or 2nd round quality, and I got him in the 3rd.
I had him going in the 1st round.
And then I got a backup catcher. Catcher wasn't a big priority because I have Posey, but I did need a 2nd catcher, and according to my rankings, this catcher from the Dodgers, Barnes, was actually the equivalent to Posey as a hitter. So I couldn't believe it when he was there. I thought he was at least a 2nd rounder. So I'm set at shortstop with good power, and I'm set at catcher with good power. Those are 2 kind of typically difficult positions to get a lot of offense out of.
You got the best shortstop in the draft. You got the best catcher in the draft. You had a needed 2nd base because Dustin Pedroia is your guy you retain, but he's not a full-time player. And lo and behold, in round 5, who did you get?
Yeah, Scooter Gannett. I mean, Scooter Gannett is kind of a surprise in that he has power, but I had him ranked very high, and he slid somehow to the 5th round, which gives me a perfect setup at second base. So I really like how my infield is. It's totally rebuilt infield. None of the infielders I have last year, well, not totally because I still have Pedroia, but Seager is a 1, Echeverria is a 1, and Pedroia is a 1. So that's some pretty solid defense right there.
Oh yeah, it is. So do you regard your team as pitching oriented, offensive, or defensive, or what's your game plan, your style of play?
Well, my pitching is average. I mean, maybe slightly above average. My offense was below average, but I was able to upgrade it. So I really like my lineup. I think my lineup is an upper caliber lineup. My defense is more than passable, and my top 3 pitchers I like: Verlander, DeGrom, and Darvish.
Let me end this by asking you, give me a prediction on how many wins for the Bushwood Gophers in 2018.
Well, you know, I'd like to win them all, Steve. I'd like to go 160-0. But I know I can't do that. But if I were to win 90 games, I would take that.
Congratulations on a good draft. Good
Thank
luck
you,
to you.
sir. Appreciate it.